Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I am Benjamin Temple. So, some months back, or a month or two, I gave an update on my layout from where I had been working on it before. So, this is another update. Since the last time I've applied or painted the track section gray and added the little bit of black spots here and there to simulate coal or diesel fuel or number 5 oil spilled out on the track. I've also added my grass and trees to my layout, and I pretty much finished all the wiring. I've also added the tube to run the cord from the turntable through the board and run eventually when I get the wiring done to this track layout and the control panel finished, then I will run that wire out to it. So I wanted to give you a view. So here we go. Like I say, there's been grass and trees added. I'm not sure if I fully had that all on there, but I've also been opening and closing the doors due to my way of doing this board. Some of the doors were sprung. I do, however, see that there's some still final touches maybe in the level, and maybe I seen this on What's Neat for this week or What's New, I forget the channel, but anyhow, they just take a sheet of plywood and then cut the holes from your wire down and cut out the pit for both the turntable and the pits for the stalls. And that seems to be a better design than, plus the guy in that show, I can't think what his name is, but he, Ken Patterson, I believe, is the main guy of that show, but he has some guest members that seem to be on the show. Some of them are not really guests, are on the show quite a bit, but, he does it in an organized fashion as far as having a way to pin that wire up underneath the board so it's not hanging. Like I say, he kind of runs that pretty organized where, you can see my wire. My thoughts to suggest or solution to this was create like a constructive paper that I will paint on one side and apply either dirt or grass or maybe a little bit of ballast, and then put like a double-edged tape that will go over those pieces of wire that you can see, so that will hide it and blend in with the rest of the board. But I'm showing the doors open, so because I belong to the River City Model Railroad Club, and one of the questions from one of the members, I'm not going to put in the names here, but had asked if my doors function, and they do. They open. But the reason I had them closed in the past videos is just checking to make sure that they all fully close. One door on this does kind of open a little bit. It's too free, and another one kind of pops out. But other than that, so I was doing this video, I've had some comments on Facebook from the UP fan page, is like, why are my sectional tracks so long? Well, I seen a layout where in real life where they had some tracks and they leave some of their cars that they're working on the track, and then a switcher can go in and pull that car out on the turntable with the car if it's not too long. So that was kind of the idea here. Many people think that I'm creating the Cheyenne roundhouse, but mine's only a 9 stall. I think the current one is 7, I think, is what I've seen or heard. I haven't really done much research on it, and furthermore, I don't really care because I'm not doing the UP layout. This is more of a freelance, something that I've seen both in pictures and maybe even a model that kind of represents this, but this is something more for Union Pacific, Southern Pacific, and possibly the Illinois Central, because that's what I model. I have one Rock Island Locomotive, some Chesapeake and Ohio, or the chassis system, however you want to call it, pronounce it. But unfortunately, this will not be something that the C&O, well, maybe the Allegheny Locomotive might be on this turntable. And I also have the Yellowstone locomotive, steam locomotive. There's maybe some final touch-ups, but I really worry about that. Yes, this is the Knific UP business car. This is one with the the big boy M1 on the back, as hopefully that you can see. And I just wanted to show that it does smoothly run, but there are a few tracks that the car, like I showed in the past video, that the boxcar rolls across this, but it's only a 2-axle, 2 sets of trucks, where this is 3 axles. And I thought maybe there might be a better chance of it derung. Sure enough, there is on a few of the tracks. So we'll have to do some filing down and see if I can't do a better job of getting the board situated. But so I'm doing that. And yes, my shed is a bit of a mess. Usually I'm very neat and organized, but I've got so much that I'm running out of places to put it all. But I wanted to show, so this is my control panel for the cover plate, and then my toggle switches or rocker switches will go in on that. But my control panel will go, so as you can see, there's a PCP pipe that's been added there. And then this control panel will, be like a picture frame, so to speak, and it will go here, and then all the wiring will come out of that plastic pipe there and go over and connect with the toggle switch or rocker switches on this control panel. Plus, this might be mounted a little further over because there'll need to be the Walters control panel for the turntable. And then the power will then come off this and go to your controller to operate the locomotives. Your DCC controller, of course. And this is what I've got done so far. I mean, yes, it's not a lot of work. The worst problem is this is on a foam, then a cardboard laid down on top of it and glued to create something hard for the screws to screw in. Now I know one of the complaints was, well, it's, them screws show and not very prototypic. Why didn't I use nails, or why didn't I glue the track down? Well, so nails, if you walk on the floor and vibration will come up, or at least that's what's happened even when you nail them into plywood. That's what's happened on another board, and then I bent them over. Now I can't get them out. I'm going to have to take a dremeling tool and cut them off on the backside, so that if I need, I intend to redo this board over here, the track. And yes, it's a bit of a mess because I've got some structures that don't belong on here. And so at some point I'm going to take up the turnout there that you can over next to the refinery, well, past the refinery, but I'm going to take that up and put a code 100 turnout. And then this spur line here, siding for the refinery, is going to get code 83 instead of the code 100. And that's just a thought. I've been doing a drawing and doing some measurements because I'm going to put that into SCARM and draw it there and see how close with the track setup that it has, and see what it says I need. Because what I'll probably do, at least for this switch right here, I'll switch this out to I think these snap switches are a number 4, so I'll go to a number 6, a little bigger. but I'll move that on to the next board so that there can be a double track here, and then one, of course, be the siding. Then where this other snap switch, we'll switch that to a right hand switch instead of a left hand. And we'll also then go this switch, hopefully we can move that up here. The reason I did this, it was originally supposed to be here. I don't know if you can see the drawing on the board, but I wasn't sure that I could do a grade crossing with that switch, so I wanted the switch out of the way. I would have liked for that switch to be here, but do the 18-degree radius, it put the curve way, or the switch way out there, and I didn't want it that far from the main line. But I want to put a three-way switch in right here if I can get this back, and then a three-way down on the other end over there. And I want to leave it wide enough for, say, like 5 LPG tank cars, so those are like 65 or 68 feet in length. I also want to remove that snap switch up there, and that snap switch, because originally that was going to be a grain elevator, but in checking the dimensions, I don't think there's going to be enough room for the buildings to go onto the board that's allotted for that, so we're going to remove that. And then the other thing, this was actually going to go into a power plant off here, and so there's going to be a Y there, and then a loop that would be big enough to take 100 coal cars plus the necessary locomotives and the caboose. But I might instead make the power plant go out there, so then there wouldn't be a necessary for a loop to back the car or pull the cars and then pull them here into the power plant that will go on the next board that's a little ways out. So there's going to be some change up in my design and my original plans. This here didn't even get made the way the original plan, but the problem with the original plans, I didn't have what size I would need, because this wasn't even thought about when I did this layout, so I had no clue. I also didn't have the Walters roundhouse, so I didn't have, the dimensions of what I needed, and SCARM wasn't even thought about at the time when I came up. I mean, it might have been out there, but I didn't know nothing about it. So this has got less tracks than but it really wasn't scaled down correctly, so the original drawing is a bit of a fantasy in how things were. That there board actually took switches and measured and then scaled them down, so it's a little more correct, other than just due to the 18-inch radius re-railers, which one I cut and then bent some of the rails further out and tried to make it a bigger radius, which it does come to like a 28 grand total. So it allows my intermountain cab forward to operate on it without derailing. I think I'm gonna do away with them re-railers and just take styrene plastic with some rails that I have and kind of build the best I can, more or less a re-railer, but making it look like a grade crossing is kind of the plan. So I don't know if this is the best idea, but the other thing I was thinking about is putting ballast here on the track to hide these screws. I'm not really sure what would be a great idea to hide those screws, but I was thinking about maybe getting rid of this, just doing away with the foam and this upper layer of cardboard, switch it to a thin sheet of plywood and cut, and then nail it back down on the 2x4s here that have been cut into like 1x2s, and then take out this bottom sheet of plywood here and let the wire hang, but do like the other gentleman that uses things to kind of mount it to the bottom of it so it don't hang, but make the wiring all nice and neat. So those are just some thoughts being the problems that I'm having with this track. So, but I was doing this video, kind of wanted to see what some people's feedbacks is, or is going to be, what you think, ideas. Should I stick with this? Should I switch? I put a few years into this design, so I really don't want to if I don't have to. Plus, I have all this wiring that now would need to be changed up. Instead of, you know, being in the grooves, would just drill a hole and hang through. And then you have the other wires that, you know, jump from one track to another. So how would you go about that as well? I guess you could just drill holes and create and drop wire and get rid of those connecting wires from one track to another. But so those are some thoughts. Just, you know, wanted some feedback here with people that might be better at this sort of thing than I am. But I have had the turntable and the track operational in the past, but the problem was the wiring was a bit different due to my lack of understanding. And when you throw power, I'd have either like the roundhouse all powered up or the sectional track all powered up, and the main line, whichever way that it was wired. And the problem is, if you have multi-engines on the track, then they all come to life. You have all that sound, plus, you know, they begin to move if you're in DC and you throw power. But if you're DCC, but you still have engines idling, and you can overload your controllers. So I know it does work. I didn't check because I've done some rewiring, and the roundhouse got all new track. The rest of the board mainly still has the old track. Some of the wiring's been redone, but mostly the same. So I would need to take one of those track testers and test to see if it's getting power. But first, I'm going to just do all the wiring and then throw power individually to each track and check to make sure my wiring's good. So those are the thoughts, and this is my update. Please let me know what you think. Leave a comment. If you like my channel, please subscribe. And thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.